Hepinize merhabalar. Yanımda CS'nin yaşayan efsanesi Fallen var. Fallen, firstly,
Which
welcome.
language is that, bro?
Turkish.
Turkish, nice.
Yeah.
Merhaba, nasılsın arkadaşlar? Not bad.
No,
I learned that
it's
from
good.
Voxic, bro.
Voxic?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Then you talk about the Voxic. Let's start from Aurora. How do you feel the vibes? Do you like them?
I like it a lot, man. I like those players. We don't really interact much, but I have been going for tournaments with Voxic, Chantalis for so long, Major, so I have big respect for them. And I know, it kind of feels to me that Turkey is a little bit like Brazil in a sense where you were like foreigners to the European country, you know, in a sense, and then you are fighting your way to the top. So I really admire the Turkish scene.
Great. I want to talk about the event that you cannot forget. I know in the shorts you said 2015, the first major that you win, but how did you celebrate the event, you know? Like what you were feeling when you were winning?
Yeah, first one was 2016. Both of them were 2016.
Yes.
Yeah, and the celebration, I actually don't remember now, but my big memories are on the stage and then being very emotional and feeling like everything all my life concluded with that. You know, like everything makes sense. Like all the hard work, all the years fighting, and then being able to lift that trophy. For me, it represented everything making having a meaning, you know. And then my wife was there with me, so it was a very, very, very fun times. And the second one, we were just too good at the time, and it didn't feel amazing because we were just winning a second one, you know. And now that I'm trying to win a third one, I should have celebrated the second one more because it's hard as hell to get a third one, you know.
I think your most unlucky moment that Astralis came in
Oh, yeah.
2017. If Astralis never arrived, I think you will dominate more.
Astralis dominated. Yeah, I remember Fer making a joke with Glaive. I think posted something, and then Fer was like making mocking something like on the way. You guys never gonna have like what we have so fast, you know. And boom, they came up and Karma. They came up and they did it faster.
When did you realize that SK Gaming roster, or like the first name of Luminosity, was near to finish? That team wasn't working. What was the conversation going on? Like, how did you decide that 5 men aren't working anymore?
I think the first interaction with Taco, honestly, I think we didn't really handle some of the problems in the best way we could when they start showing up, and we saw some differences in some personalities changing a little bit here and there. Some things start becoming more annoying for us as a team, and then we decided to make some changes. And honestly, looking back now, probably with more maturity, we could have handled things a little bit different, I think. But at the time, I think we just had such a high expectation for ourselves in terms of always being performing and in terms of making whatever it takes to keep winning, and then we tried everything that we thought at the time that was right. And it ended up that nobody can win forever, right? So we always gonna end up that changes are gonna mean that you made it wrong because you didn't keep winning. But winning forever is impossible. So I think what we can remember from SK is all the good times where we did a lot of things properly, and that's why we are so successful.
I want to ask you even more back. How did Fallen became Fallen? How did people found you? Did you get coached by different people? Like, what was the story behind the Fallen?
Yeah, I think I started playing the game with 13 years old in 2003, and I decided to play because of my older brothers. I have 2 older brothers and 1 younger, so I have a big family. I have always been to computer. My family was selling computers at early ages. So yeah, I decided to start playing because they opened some cyber coffees around my neighborhood, and my brothers were going there and have a lot of fun. And one day, I was begging them to take me there, and I fell in love with the game and with the atmosphere. You know, going to PCs, having friends, and playing against each other, challenging ourselves. And that's when I really got that fire for competition. Even though I was already competing in football a little bit, playing at school, you know, but when I saw CS, it was a passion.
If you had a chance to become the footballer or this Fallen, what would you choose?
That's a good question because before getting to CS, I was really into football. I really liked football. I was even cutting my hair like Ronaldo, you know, phenomenal, you know, like the R9.
The R9?
Yeah, I was like big fan. So yeah, for me, I wanted to be a footballer when I was a kid. So if I had to choose, being honestly, I'm quite happy with the life I have. So I prefer to think that I would choose this one.
Okay, then I'll ask you something different. If you never became an esports player, if esports weren't on your life, what would you do in this age? Have you ever imagined that?
I think if I could choose something other than gaming, at my early age, I also wanted to be an astronaut.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's a little bit unrealistic. It's super tough. So probably it's not going to happen. But what's more like logical to happen? I'll probably be an engineer nowadays because I did start learning electrical engineering. I entered university for a few weeks, but yeah, I think I would be an engineer if I was not in gaming.
after you retire from the CS, do you think that you will gonna come back as a coach? Because like I know you help a lot of young Brazilian talent, and like I know you have the spirit to become a coach, but do you feel prepared for it? Because like back-to-back tournaments, a lot of traveling, missing family, these are
Yeah.
all the questions.
Yeah, the reasons for me to go out of gaming a little bit would definitely be around the schedule, and I think the coach has kind of the same schedule as a player, pretty much the same, 99%. So jumping straight into a coach role is not something I'm looking for. Definitely because of the workload and because of the travels. But maybe in the future, maybe if going out for some years and then I have this urge to come back for competition, and definitely I can see myself in the coaching role. I think I could do it properly, and I think I have the, at least now I have the understanding of the game. The problem is that if you stop for some years, then maybe you don't have this understanding of the game anymore. But you know, coaching is not only about the game; it's about understanding people and making sure that people connect together in a group and working problems. You know, so yeah, maybe in the future, but it's not something I'll do quite after, just because the what's probably going to take me away from Counter Strike it is the schedule, you know. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you are homesick actually. You're missing your home, your family, this type of things. And like, do you think that it breaks you as mentally some days at least?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the hardest part of our job, we have an amazing job. It's like a dream job for many people, and including for ourselves. But the hardest part, it is staying away from family. It does help that in this tournament, for example, my wife came with my dog, and we're together, and it does help a lot. But overall, like, I have an apartment now in Miami that I decided to buy with my wife a year ago, and I don't really have many days spent on my own house, and also that's kind of tough. But it is part of the job, and we have many other good things that comes because of this decision. So I think I prefer to think like it's a time frame. Right now it is like that, but it's going to be different later.
Okay. I want to go again a bit childhood memories. What did you do with your first salary? Do you remember it?
I think I was working when I was 12. I have always been working very early because of my parents' company. So we had a PC store in a very small city in Brazil. So we're really attending and serving our community there, building computers for them, fixing computers. So I was very early on my age, like 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. I was going out for other people's houses, and I was working on their Ethernet cables, you know, making internet work. At that time, we used modems as well, you know. So the first router started coming in, installing Wi-Fi and all those things. Sometimes I would be on the balcony selling stuff for people who would come by on the store. So I was working very early, and back on that time, it was family money. You know, we were helping our family, so you don't really see much of the money. It's just helping my parents and stuff. But the first one that I really, when I decided that I wanted to have my own computer at 16, 17 years old, I bought my computer, and unfortunately, someone robbed my computer a couple of days later. They entered the store and they robbed my PC and my brother's PC. And the second salary that I really consider is the salary that I got from creating the Fallens Academy project when I decided to give classes for people on Counter-Strike. And with that salary, I decided to buy me a better chair.
Makes sense, makes sense. I want to ask you this. There are a lot of young talents. They are shining for a year and then they are booming mentally, you know? But you are in this scene, in this game over the years, and no matter what happens, wherever you are always in this level. Not only as a playstyle, but as a also mindset. How do you keep yourself this high? Because I think how many years you are playing? More than 20 maybe even,
Yeah.
you know? How do you keep this? Because like even for me, gaming in back-to-back events, it's just hard for
It's
me.
hard, right? So I think it's hard to give you an answer with only one thing, you know, like that's gonna summarize it. But for me, as gaming is my priority since I started, and because I put gaming as my priority is the reason because why I'm here 20 years later, right? It's because I understand that competing is the most important thing of my life since day one, and it's gonna be like that until I stop playing. That I make adjustments every else around to make it work, you know. So, for example, staying away from family, having sacrificial things here and there in order to have more playtime, in order to make the better decisions that's going to help me as an athlete is part of why I'm here 20 years later. And probably why other players don't stay for long, because their priorities change within time. So yes, mentally it is challenging. I think that the new generation now is suffering a little bit with the amount of technology they're exposed to so early. You know, I have been exposed to technology very early too, when I was young. But nowadays, with all the social media things, all the TikToks, and all the so much access to so much information so fast, I feel like this new generation is suffering a little bit more than our previous generation with some things. And you know, life is demanding and life is hard on many aspects, and even for players that are coming now from new regions and players that are trying to become professional players, they have different opportunities than we had in the past, right? In some sense, I feel like it's easier for them because the path is more set. But on the other hand, I feel like some stuff are taken for granted. You know, like they don't really appreciate how things get into their laps so easily. So they don't really see the value in it. So sometimes you can see some opportunities being dismissed. But I think it's everyone is on their own path to really learning from stuff they live in life, and new players they have to find their own way. I can only share the way I found, and I don't think it's going to be exactly the same for everyone.
Last question. Do you feel like a celebrity? You are, but sometimes people don't think that they are the celebrity. But for me, you and Colzer are the face of Brazilian CS.
Yeah, I think because of all the success we had together, it was we delivered a lot of good things for the Brazilian scene, and I personally did a lot over the last 20 years. Overall, the opportunities I had to collaborate with something. So I do feel like a celebrity in Brazil, at least, because when I go out, it's very common to see a lot of people recognizing my work and even calling me by nickname. So I have many encounters in weird situations. You know, I'm going to a restaurant in a different city that I never went. Someone there knows me. Sometimes I go to a supermarket. Someone, oh look, it's Colin. You know, so it does feel like a celebrity. But in another sense, I'm just like another person. I try to think that this cannot change who I am, and I have to act the most I can, being true to myself.
Thank you for the answers. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here.
Appreciate it, bro.
Fallon'la birlikteydik. Geldiği için çok ama çok teşekkür ederim. Kendisiyle birlikte çok güzel röportaj yaptık. Umarım siz de beğenmişsinizdir.
Thanks, guys.
Skins Monkey'de eşyalarınızı kolaylıkla takaslayabilir, yeni eşyalar elde edebilir, hatta ve hatta ücretsiz bir şekilde çekilişlere katılabilirsiniz. LegoCan kodunu kullanarak ilk takasınızda $5 varan bir bonus. Bununla birlikte kalmadan yine LegoCan kodunu kullanarak ilk para yüklemeniz değil, her para yüklemenize özel olarak %30 yerine 35'e varan bir bonusa da sahip olabiliyorsunuz. Bunların dışında günlük, haftalık ve aylık olarak da çekilişlere buradan kolaylıkla ulaşabilirsiniz. Hem açıklamada hem de sabitlenmiş yorumlarda var. Sponsor oldukları için teşekkür ederim.